Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to continue the educational videos on the FR-1x. And I was actually asked a question from one of my viewers on how about editing the bass side. You know, we've looked at editing the treble side of the 1x. What about the bass side? And when I was getting ready to do that video, I realized, there might be some questions about the software. So yes, I'm going to answer that one, but I'm going to do that one in my next video. This one, I want to cover the software for editing that, and particularly editing the bass side. But then we'll actually do a video where we're going to create a different bass for that. But let's get on to the actual software, because it's really interesting, and I'm just going to do a quick intro here, and then we'll get into the software and I'll show you. The FR-1x is actually very limited when you compared to the in the software. It's going to be the 3x or the 7x. It just doesn't have the hardware to handle that, but they wrote the software brilliantly, and you're going to see what that means. There's a lot of things that you cannot edit on the 1x. Okay, the 1x, you can basically change the reeds, you can change the reverb and the chorus. Okay, and obviously the volume. You can do a couple other things, but there's so many things that you can't actually edit. However, when they wrote the software, they wrote it so it would work with any one of their accordions. So there's actually a way of getting in, changing it, and it really doesn't work because the hardware is not in the 1x, but you can still use any of the editors to edit the software. You just have to know where to look. All right, I'm going to actually bring up the software. So I'm going to, in essence, switch cameras and share my screen so you can actually see what I'm talking about here. All right, I'll be back in a moment. Right now I'm sharing my screen, and for ease of videoing here, I've actually created a folder where I'm going to put all of the items that we're going to create in this one and in the next video. All right, so as you can see, here's the software. We double click on it and the software runs. Okay, so here it is. It by default for me is coming up with the FR-1x, because in the change model, I have the 1x and I have it checked to remember my selection. So first, let's take a look at the FR-1x software. All right, so here's the software. And again, for this video, we're really concentrating on the bass registers, because, for lack of anything better, we want to make the bass register more powerful, give it some oomph. Okay, so we're going to edit these. Now, a couple things that we want to look at. By default, when you run this, it comes up in the concerto. So if you just created it, it would be, in essence, your set 1-1. But we're going to be looking at the bass register. So what can we edit in the bass register? Also, I'd like you to remember this name. The name for the default turn on the bass is 1A. So when the accordion turns on, 1A on the bass side is selected. Okay, and it is the 8-4-2 reed. Okay, so I just want you to remember that that's going to play here in a moment. But if we go first and take a look at what we can edit, click on edit, and here we go. We can edit the name, and we can edit any of the reads. So we can have a 16-foot read here, the 4, the 8, I'm sorry, the 16, the 8, the 4, and the 2 read, right? And we can add a read. As you can see, there's no 16. We're going to save this. But if I wanted a 16-foot read, notice there's nothing over here because it's off. When I turn it on, there it is. So that's the 16-foot read. You can also change the type of accordion. And this is what we've seen on the treble side. So it's no different. We can change to any one of these. And if you clicked on, let's say, the Alpine or one of the expansions, it will tell you that you need the right expansion installed. Okay. Again, we're not going to save this, so it doesn't really matter for us. Okay. You can also change the volume. You can change the button noise, so the clicking and the growl, and the bellows detune. So you can change any of those items on the FR-1X. No problem. Great. And that's where we're going to concentrate. Over here, you can change the reverb and the chorus. You can't click on any of these others. So, for example, in the 8-4-2 read, okay, we have a delay of 2. The bass octave is 0. The chord octave is 0. Reason I'm pointing that out is I'm going to show you a way to change those. Okay, so that's the limitations of the 1X. It's limited that way because the hardware can't actually deal with it, cannot deal with these items. Okay, so we're going to close this, and we're going to, we know it's not saved. We don't want to save that. Okay, I want you to, again, notice the name. So here's the quote trick. If we go in and try to edit it using the FR-7X software, what can we see with that? Well, let's go and let's change to the FR-7X. Here's that. Pretty much the same thing. Okay, bass register. The bass register on the 7X will start with the 2-foot read. That's the very high-pitched read. Kind of like the dog whistle read, we'll call it. Okay. Now, if you remember, I said, remember the 8-4-2. If we click here, the 8-4-2 read is actually the 5th register on the 7X. Let's go in and take a look at what it says. And again, we're editing the same, the concerto. That's the default for all of them. Look at that. The 8-4-2 has exactly the same configuration. Exactly the same configuration. We come over here, we can now edit this. If I wanted, I want that down 3 octaves. And I want the chord up 3 octaves. Notice that I can change it. I can then save this. Boom, save it. There it is. It's saved. Okay, that's all fine and good. What happens if we create this set? So let's create this set. We're just going to call it FR-7X set, just so we can look at it. Okay. and we click Save. Boom. Operation complete. If you notice over here on my screen, the FR-7x.set came up. Okay, great. Let's go back to the 7x model, or the 1x model. And here's the editor for the 1x. It's a little bit different. There's some things we don't have here, but let's import a set. Now, remember the 842, if we go in to edit it, there that is. Over here, our octaves haven't changed. Let's import the set and see what happens. So we import the set. It's all completed. Boom. There it is. We still have the 842. We're editing that. We go into the edit. No big surprise. Nothing has changed because we didn't change anything. But let's go into the effect. Look at what it says for the octave. 3 octaves lower for the bass, 3 octaves higher for the chord. It has taken all of that. So you can actually edit that information. Now, that's the good news. Here's the bad news. The FR-1x hardware can't actually deal with any of this. Can we change it? Yes, that's the brilliance of their software. We can actually go in there using the same sets, whether it's the 1x, the 3x, or the 7x. We can actually, we can actually edit all that information. The hardware simply can't read it. So even though we have it set here, and if you want to try this, go ahead and try this on your own. Go in, change it, save the set, put the set in the accordion, and you're going to see this doesn't affect the 1x at all because we can't actually control this. So that's really what I wanted to show you for the software. This is a brilliant piece of software written, and you can edit a lot of things, but a lot of them will not affect the 1x itself. All right, let me cut back to the other camera. What I want to point out is that really they've named all of the items the same. So for example, when we're doing the FR-1x, if we wanted to edit the 842 read, which is the startup for that set on the 1x, we could edit it in the 7x software or the 1x, but we have to be looking for that same name. And actually, I think what we'll do is maybe we'll just change the name so you can actually kind of see it. But we'll do that in the next video. But what's important is you can edit in any of them, but only certain things are actually going to apply to the 1x due to hardware limitations. The software is absolutely brilliant. You import it, it's going to put everything where it's supposed to be. It's just, it's not going to really help you a lot. If you haven't already done so, please hit the like and subscribe below. And I will be back with another video on actually editing the bass, so we get a little bit more punch out of that bass. Thank you for watching. Keep playing.